Hello everyone, I hope you are doing great. Welcome to our 10th project in our series 10 SAPUI5 project for beginners, and it is the last project but not the least. Since we have been exploring a couple of things in our previous projects such as maps, barcode scannings and all, so I thought of using something else this time, which is integration cards, and I believe they are very important. Okay, so let's just first quickly have a look at what are integration cards and how do they look like. Okay, so for example, if you look here on the screen, you will see this is how a normally card look like, which basically kind of is contains the information, right? So you can see there are different types of cards: list card, then you have a table card, right, as a typical table which you have. Then you have object card, right, and then you also have timeline, and then analytical card where you see something like some crazy line chart and all. And last but not the least, you have a component kind of a card, right? And if you look at this list card, how it is basically being formed is, let me just, because I need to showcase this thing, this is important. So what does a typically a list card looks like? It's nothing but you define your card in a JSON format, as can be seen here, right? Let me make it a bit more bigger. So what I'm defining here is a version, then I'm saying what kind of a ID it is, what kind of type it is, a card, and that card type is list. Okay, and now if you look here, uh, this card has a title header, under which it has title, subtitle, and then icon, right? And then some statuses like this. And about the content, it has content, data, JSON, and then field as name, description, and highlight. Based on this highlight, it will be red, orange, green, and blue. So it is like success, warning, error, information. And then, so once it has defined the data, it is defining in the item mapping that okay, title is belonging to name, description is basically belonging to description, right, and highlight is with capital I. It has three field at an item level: title, description, and this color, right, and header level is this. So that's how you define a list card. And if you look at table cards, this is how you define a table card. You do again have a ID, and then here you define a type as table, and then data, right? And then you basically define your mapping that okay, header text will come from header data, under which status text. Where is the status text? Let's go upside down, header data. Status text is okay, since it is not defined here, there's no mapping here, so it's just place here. But if you look at the columns, the sales order column is mapped to sales order field, which you see this, right? And then customer name is mapped here to customer name, and then net amount is mapped to net amount, and on. So what we are planning to do is that we will build a kind of a weather app. That weather app will show different kinds of card, right? For example, we'll show list card, table card, object card, and analytical card. And based on the radio button which is chooses, we'll use that, right? And what weather API we are using? We are using openweathermap.org. You can register yourself, and you can kind of generate the API. This API I will delete because I don't want it to be used further. And if you look at it closely, what does this have? So I have provided the latitude and longitude, which is of this place, which is Panchkula, and then the key which is generated from openweathermap.org, right? And then I'm saying metric unit has to be metric, which is, for example, I want to see temperature in Celsius, and I don't want to see minutely forecast. Okay, so let's just look at it, what it contains. So let me just fold everything. Okay, So if you look here, it contains latitude, longitude, time zone, offset. Then it tells you the current temperature. It is like 32, feels like 31 degrees Celsius, right? Then it also gives other parameter, pressure, humidity, and so for current, what we'll do is we'll make something like this object card, right? And then there is something called hourly. Yes, we'll use this hourly because it has a date, then it has temperature, whether the temperature is 32, and then what kind of whether it is what kind of outside it is, whether clear sky or what, right? And then again another date, and then you have temperature and feels like, and then again icon, then another time, another date. So what we will do is we'll use this hourly for our table view, for our list view, for our analytical. Okay, so that's how we will uh, create our cards, different cards, and using this data. If we are using openweathermap.org, it's open source. You can, it's not open source as in you can go ahead and create your account, create your key, get a free account, and you can use that. Okay, so let's then, without wasting further time, let me quickly open this. And so we'll use the easy UI5. So we have our project created, the cards, and it is a standard structure which has controller, view, and all, right? So let's just quickly have a look at what does a card compose of. It composes of this structure which we will create along with the data we'll fetch dynamically, right? So first, maybe somehow let's plan to first call this API and fetch our data. So for that, let me quickly open our controller, and since we are going to use JSON model, so I will use that. I'll add a AMD to JSON model, right? And accordingly, once I've added it, it had automatically added the dependency. And then here I create on init method, and then what I do is I simply in the interest of time, I fetch the data and I set the model. This is perfect, right? So now once that is done, what I do is we'll go to main view, and inside content, what we want is something like a layout where we will have something, what do we call is uh, a vertical one. The layout should be more likely laid out in a vertical way, where we'll have our VBox, right? So we'll add maybe a VBox, right? And so this will sorry, so this will basically make the flow in a the vertical direction. So inside it, what I want is maybe let me first get a label, right, where we say what type of weather forecast you want, right? And then inside it, because we want radio buttons to be laid out horizontally, so let me just get that. So there is a layout one, right? There is a dependency on layout namespace, so I define that. Now, so what we have done is we are saying that on I need a I have a vertically aligned stuff inside which I have a label which will come first, and beneath it I want these radio buttons to be laid out in a horizontal way, which is we have current task, current object card, right, weather one, then hourly list card, hourly table card, then hourly analytical card. And when I say is that if you select anything, right, then it triggers the on select weather option, right? And let's define this also, right? So what I do is let's go to our controller, and I say I did not copy that. Let me copy that, and I say whatever is connected, right? So we do something, right? Now if let me just open something, right? This basically this integration cards and all, they are part of 1 second, they are part of a new library, right, which is SAP UI integration namespace, right? So what we need to do is, before running, let me first copy the path. I go here, and then I say UI5 add sap.ui.integration library, and I pass to it my config, which is UI module slash ui5.yaml. So what it will does is it will add this as a dependency. So maybe once it is done, let's have a look here. Here you will see that integration is there. Apart from mobile core layout, we need this integration library also, right? And then there's a theme one, so which is good. And let's also in parallel, let's start serving our application, right? And once I have started serving it, I will hide it so that you see this space. Server, it is good. So if you open this, right, and you will see, I hope our card load. Since it's loading for the first time, it might be a bit slower. Let it load. It is loading. SAP UI model JSON model.js. What is the error it is saying? Error. It is model slash, because there is OData or this, so it is like this. So now I think it shall work. Looks like now controller is not defined. Where is this controller? Controller is not defined. Why? Controller, and is it added as a dependency? Base controller, sorry, bad. So if I just now check, let's see how it goes. I hope no error this time. 2 errors. Yes, so we have got there is like current object card. There's a, we want to choose the weather forecast, hourly list card, hourly table card, hourly analytical card. Good. So now if you change anything, it shall trigger something, right? So what we will do is, for the time being, we will place alert here, right, just to validate whether it is working or not, right? And meanwhile, let it reload. I will open SAPUI5 or ui5.sap.com. I will show something, and let me hide this now, right? And we'll close this. We don't need this, we don't need this, we need this. So let it load. Okay, so if I go to API reference and I want to showcase is basically this one, main controller, main view. There is, we are using select method, right? So if I click here radio button and if I go to here event select, right, it clearly shows how do you fetch what all parameters or it contains is using get parameters. You can see this hierarchy. How do, normally I used to wonder that how do I find, how do I know what method to be used? So if you look into the documentation, you can clearly see to get source, it will tell you from where it is coming, and that get parameters will provide you the results from where it is coming, right? The values and all which you need to play around with, right? So let's just quickly check that how it is working, right? So what I will do is let's say I will then quickly go here and create a breakpoint. It is triggering, and let's just try to see what we have. So there is get parameters, we are already aware, right? And get parameters give us this, right? The button which is selected, right? The 1 0 1 2 3. And if I have what I'll do is I'll say what, or if I say what does get source give us, right? So it tells you that okay, this is the radio button group which is there, and it also will have which is the selected one. So if I say get selected button, right, it tells you that this is minutely is the, is this one is a selected one, right? Minutely, why it is saying minutely is because here I have mentioned ID as minutely, but ideally it is hourly only, right? So but to give it differently, it has done that. And then I want to somehow find the value of this. So what I can do is I can say get text. So now it tells me that okay, this is the one, this is the hourly list card. Let me make it a bit bigger for you so that you can see, right? So it tells me that let me just clear it, and then if I just enter it, you can see hourly list card. So we'll use this, and we will, what we will do is we will go here, we don't this YAML, go here, we'll say, because we'll be using switch one, right? Switch statement is the one which we will be using. So what I will say is that maybe I just say switch whatever value it gets, right? And then you tell me case, right? And then in this case we are getting hourly list card. That means we will copy it, this will need current object card, right? It, and I will need a break also, right? So that we can and then we'll copy this and we'll paste it 4 times, right? And we'll bring in the hourly one, and hourly list, hourly table, right, and then hourly analytical. Right, and then what I will do is I will kind of close this thing. This is already SWI switch, right, and then we have already closed it. Let me format it, format selection. So we have our switch statement with us, right? So once we have that object card, let me just see if there is no error. Let it load. So what I want to do is, one, I want to read the configuration, I want to create that card, right? So we need to dynamically insert it somewhere, right? We need to dynamically insert this under here, right? So how do we do that? So maybe what we can do now is that, since we know that, let's try that in debugging, because then it will may make more sense, because I will add it to the aggregation. Okay, so that we will add it as well as we will remove it. Okay, so let me just quickly let it reload, and then if I say hourly list card, it has stopped here, right? And we already know that our app has an ID, right? So what if I say this dot by ID, I will copy this, and yeah, it returns. So let me have it as variable container is equal to this. I'm trying to basically find the place where I can actually go there, right? So this container has pages, right? We are already aware it has one page, as you can see, one page. And if I want to refer it, it is an array. So this is a reference I get to the page. Now if I check what are the content of this, get content, right, then it tells me the content is again an array, which is which has something called a vbox. And if you look here, vbox, very good. So what I will do is I'll say I will refer to that content. Let me clear it so that you can, so this refers to this vbox, right? And I want to add to it. So I don't want to add to this horizontal layout, I want to add things to it. So what we can do is, let me go here and say vbox, and let's look at its aggregations items, right? You can see you have an items where you can add your stuff, right? So what I will do now is I will then do something like this dot add aggregation items, and then here I will provide my card, right? So let's do this way that so integration is okay. So integration cards are available under this namespace, right? So maybe let's just quickly add it as a asynchronous module definition dependencies, so that you are able to we are able to use it in our code, right? So let's do that quickly so that uh, we are able to then assign the things to it, right? So what I will do is basically we have already copied it, and I'll make an enter here, and I don't need this view because we are going to play is with this. So I'll add the dependency, and in case I need to add the object, all I need to do is press 5, and blue, which is okay. Let me add it manually, right? So now I have added the dependency, or I can create card, I can we'll basically do this something like this. We'll add our code, create card, and then add content, right? So let's first work on hourly table card, right? And let's go to table card, and I'm just copying this configuration, and variable, let me declare it here. So we declare a configuration, and I say configuration is this. Okay, so what does this configuration has? It has some hard-coded data as of now. It is a type table, and then we have mapping of columns that, okay, sales order is this field, this. I'm just trying to do it to see first it works, and then I will change it, right? And as we have already studied here, we need to have something like a container also, right? So I say container is equal to this dot by id, and then I take that id, okay, so we have got that container. Now I can quickly copy this, right? And quickly add it here. Card is like, let me name it as my card, right? And then what you need to do is let's say that now we need to create this, right? And so if you look at this code, right, so we'll say this variable my card is equal to new card, right? And then if you look at the configuration, this is manifest, it is using this, right? ocard.set manifest. We'll use the same. We'll say set manifest, it is my card. Manifest is what? Nothing but the configuration of its how, which table, what data, which field map here. And then all I say is you add aggregations in case of hourly table card. So if I look now, let's see how it goes. So I don't know. Hopefully it will work, and let's see. So we have hourly table card. If I just click here, wow. So it is working, right? And all I need to do is replace this with our data, right? And our data uh, is coming in. Let's get our data variable weather data is equal to this dot get view dot get model dot get json, right? And since we know it is weather data, right, so all I will do is I'll replace this hard coded data with weather data dot hourly, right? And let's just quickly see what does this data look like, and then we'll do the mapping. So hourly one we'll look at. This is hourly one. It has temperature, feels like, pressure, humidity. Let's add that. Maybe let's add just date as it is, because so I say you tell me date, temperature, and it will have pressure and humidity, right? State we don't have, so let me just replace it. Humidity, pressure, you can have it under I18N. That's more or less your call. In the interest of time, I'm just trying to to a quick foreground. So this will be weather forecast. Okay, so let's see how it goes now. Somehow it is very slow. Let's hope it works, because once this is done, then we will add for something else also. So let's try now. Hourly table card is get view v small, so maybe let me just correct it. I hope now it works. If I now say this, still there is just one line. Why? Let's just quickly check weather data dot hourly. Let me quickly open this, and what if I go here like this? This is our case, and if I check the configuration under app, the card data JSON is undefined. Why? Let me see. It's supposed to have. Oh, this is string, so we need to use JSON dot pass, and not like this, like this, and let's see how it goes now. Hopefully it shall work. So let me just quickly see. Hourly table card, debugger, brilliant. So you can see our date. We can format. You can format it later. The temperature, pressure, humidity, everything is working, right? And if I just change and go back again, that's one more. We'll handle that, but for now this looks okay, right? So now, for example, tables we have handled, and what if I want to display this data as a card? What I shall do is I'll go here, I will copy this, right? And then let me go to list card, yes, and here we'll have configuration as this, right? And then I'm just copying the same code, and now we are again saying variable my card, new card, and we adding it, right? So let me just this. So now, as of now, I just have a hard-coded data. We'll adjust it. Let's just first see what is coming, right? So for our list card, you shall see list, and then we'll adjust it with our dynamic data. Let it load. Okay. So if I see now list, then I can see that is coming. Okay. Now let's just customize it. So first of all, this JSON is replaced by weather data dot hourly, right? And here if you look at it, the type is different. It is type is list, right? And I want this to be something like weather data in list. Subtitle we don't need, icon we don't need, status and all we don't need, removing everything, right? Then our this will be like highlight we don't want as of now, or we will hard code it. but name what I want is let it be date, right? And I can say dt, and date is, I can write like this, and then we will use temperature is this, right? And let me quickly check here. Highlight is, let's keep it as error as hard coded, right? And it shall show every entry in red. Let's just quickly check that. So if I just see this, everything is shown in red, and if I just change it to warning, it will become yellowish orange one. So you can have that also dynamic, right? So things look fine. Let's just quickly check. And once we are done with this list card, table card, then we'll have analytical card. And then at the end, we will, what we'll do is we'll take care of the object card. So orange one you can see. And what if I click hourly table card? Then you see this is added at the bottom. So somehow what we need to do is we need to remove the existing one. So let's try to see how we can do that. So if I just click here, and if I go here, right, and let's have container dot get get pages, right, and we have this dot get pages, then you get dot get content, right? So we get a vbox. So I say get content 0 is a vbox, right? And now we say these are aggregations, right? So I say get item, so it is getting me 4. Why 4? One is label, then layout, then card 0, card 1, right? So somehow, because every time what I want is whichever card you will choose, it should be there, right? So how we will get that is using this. So this will always give me the last card which is added. So what we can do is we can say once you get content vbox reference vbox, you can remove item, right? And what item you want, you pass this, the last added one, right? And it will remove it. I'll just show you. If you'll see, that has already removed the last one. This was there, that is okay, but that table is gone. So let's just copy this, and what we do is every time we are setting any page, right, let's first remove it, right? And let's first remove it here. Now let's see what happens. So I expect that when I click here, right, it shall show me that card, and once I choose another option, it shall show me another card. Hourly list card, okay, all good. Hourly table card, yes, see, brilliant. So we, our hourly list card is also working. Let me just remove it. And hourly table card is also working. It is removing those child elements dynamically, right? Now let's just look at analytical card now. So analytical card will be like let me just copy this. We'll have a line chart of temperature and feel, or maybe pressure, right? So let me just, where is that hourly analytical card? We go here, and this is the data, right? In list, right? It has, get it assigned to configuration first of all, right? Now this is, we will not have, let the top remain as it is, I don't care, right? Let, because this top project, I'll just change the title, so it will be I'll change it later. I'll show you why I want to keep it like this. Well, let's change it. Then I will have something like weather data analytical. Okay, I don't need this. I don't need this, right? And even we don't need this also. So content is a line chart, and this is some category text, whether it is visible, data label is visible, text is not visible. Now here comes the title. Where is the data? Here is the data. So let's just say, let's just remove this data, and we will say whether data dot hourly is passed to it, correct? And then on here we'll have date, which is dt. Here we shall have temperature, which is tmp. I think it is tmp, emp, eemp, and then you have, let's have humidity. And humidity, we'll plot two line charts, humidity and temperature and date. Okay, and then we'll use the same thing, right? Nothing fancy. So we'll use this. Either we could have moved it out of the break, also outside switch, but let it be. You can beautify this code and remove this duplicate one as per your need, right? So now if I go here and see what is happening, let it load. So once it is done, we will be left with our object card, and that is where we'll show the current weather. So let's just look at the app. Hourly good, list card good, table card good, analytical, let's look at it. Unable to load data. Why? This library is not available, right? So let's add that. So if you remember, we have not added it as a dependency, so I will add it. UI5 add, what is the name? SAPUI5, right? Let's just look at the YAML first. Add SAPUI5. I forgot the config file. -config dot slash UI module slash UI5 dot YAML. So we'll add this library. And now I say UI5 serve. Which is also added. Hopefully it will work. So let this start. Live server is started. Let me hide it. I go here, I reload, because these line charts and everything is a part of the Viz library. Let's just wait for it, right? And I hope it works, and then we can move to this object card. Let it load. Hourly good, table good, analytical. Where is our chart? E error. No error. Why? Then what we are missing? At least the, if you look at the top, that is fine, right? Only thing is, what I am doing wrong. Let me just quickly check. Measures are clear. Dimension is dt. Don't need this path. I think this is additional. I think this causing this issue. Let's just have it as this, because then the stamp will refer to something else. So let's try now. I hope it works. So let's try now. Hourly table. I hope analytical loads this time. Oh man. Let's hope it. Yeah, see, good. So we can see the date wise, you can format anytime. You can clearly see that date wise it is telling us temperature is going down, then up, then down, and you see humidity is there going up and down. So our three cards are working perfectly fine. Now let's move towards our this card, right? So let me copy this, and we go to the top. Where is the one? Current object card. So it will be configuration, idly configuration, right? And ideally I can move this code as a common one because this is repetitive, so I can have it outside here. I am removing this, right? I am removing this also because we are already adding it. It is a common code which needs to be done everywhere. Okay, so now table card is okay, only the configuration is changing, right? So let's now look at it. Okay, this is the card, is type is object. Okay, so let me just open it. So this is where you define your field name, whatever is your JSON like, right? And then you map it header, which is here, you map it to here. Then content you have it as groups. So we might have groups for temperature as well as for other parameters, and here we might have, let's try to have an icon with description and what kind of a weather it is right now. Okay, so let's have, let's first look at here. So it is data dot current, right? This is what we are after, and it also give us something like icon id. And how can we use that? Open weather map icons. Let's try to see how we can use that, right? So all you need to do is whatever is icon name, you need to just concatenate it and it will open an icon. Very good, very simple, right? So let's do that. Maybe first let's map the data. So data is our weather data dot current, right? And then in our icon, yes, this is the place where we need to bring in this, right? The photo, and this is something, this name will come from it is inside weather and icon, right? And this is an array, so an array is first one, right? So I will say weather /0 first entry and icon. So this icon needs to be displayed, right? Weather 0 because it's an array, icon. Then there are the title and last name. I will say delete display this at main and description, right? So we will say weather 0 main, right? 0 is the first element in the array, right? And then I add subtitle as description. So at the top of the card, you will see the weather icon, its this name, its description. Then below here is temperature details, right? And let's have another one is as other, right? So what we add is we add temperature, and then we add feels like, because what is the temperature but how does it feel like. Let's get those. So we have temperature and feels like, and we don't need this. Here we need pressure and humidity. Let's add, right? Pressure and humidity. So pressure, humidity, right? And then we don't need others. Okay, title and all we don't need, then we are good. So we are described what our content of the card will be, what will the header like, type and data, everything is done. And we have added the mapping also here, that you remove the previous one at the end, add the new one. Okay, so I hope this is our last one. So let's just see. It is not loaded by default because in under init we have not added anything. Let's keep it as it is. For first we'll try to see hourly is working, list card, hourly table card is working, hourly analytical card, I hope it is working. I'll check the object card in the end because I'm a bit, that's the latest one. So let's see what happens here. Brilliant. You see this? There's a clear sky, and then there is this and this stuff, right? So with this, I think we are done with our project 10, which is the last project. And I hope you had a great learning in doing all these projects. The intention with which this series was started is finally come to an end, but that doesn't mean we'll not do something else. There is like so much to learn and share, such as RAP, CAP, machine learning, cloud foundries, there are too many things, right? So let's see what we start next. So till then, I'll see you. If you like the video, just press like button, subscribe, spread the word, keep sharing, keep learning. Take care. Bye bye.